Welcome back to Music Elegancy by LNC. Today, we're trying something new. We're going to be creating our own little canon of albums systematically over the next couple years, hopefully. Maybe we'll never revisit this topic again, but who knows? It's kind of an easy thing to talk about. Basically, we're just going to pick 5 albums that we think kind of represent big moments in our life, I guess, or just are really important albums to us. They're not necessarily the best albums to us, but they're important albums to us. They shaped who we are and the music we listen to. So there's albums that I necessarily don't love on this list. There's albums that Connor don't necessarily love, but they're all, I guess, they shape us. There's no just Luke. There's no just Connor. It's Luke and Connor.
Yeah, it's Luke and Connor. But a
Yeah,
canon, Luke said a canon. It's like a list of the best albums, or not albums, the best books ever, right?
yeah. Like the Western canon
A
is just
Western canon.
yeah, it's like an unofficial list of just a bunch of nerds. They just collaborated, I guess, just over the course of history to create the most influential or important books to our society. So you'll see a lot of Shakespeare or To Kill a Mockingbird, those books that you probably read in school. Those are part of the Western canon. So the LNC canon is it's just 2 people instead of an entire Western society.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
let's get into it.
Yep.
The first album we have is The Wall by Pink Floyd, right?
Yep. The balls.
The what?
The balls.
The Balls. This is my actually number one album of all time. Luke's more
It's
on the
your goat.
Radiohead side, but it basically tells the story of a boy named Pink, and it goes through his life from him. The band is Pink Floyd, and the kid's name is Pink Floyd, so it basically symbolizes the band as a whole. But it's roughly based on Roger Waters' life as a child, and it takes elements from all the other band members. But it starts when he's a little kid, and his dad dies in war, and then it tells about his mom being overprotective, and his he just goes through his life, and his wife is he just neglects her basically because he's a rock star. He's so he does hella drugs and stuff, and he just lives a bad life, and he builds what's called the wall, and that's what the whole album's about, the wall breaking at the end. The last song, or not the last song, one of the last few songs is called The Trial, and that's basically when he realizes everything that he's done in his life, and why his life is so bad, it's all his fault. And then the wall breaks, and it's the best part of the album. What do you think about that song though? The Trial.
The trial.
It's pretty
Um,
goofy.
the trial, it's obviously an important piece of the album. It's kind of like the climax. It's the big moment.
Yeah.
But it's just hard for me to listen to it and not think of things like Hamilton or think of Drama Club or
Yeah.
just I don't know. It kind of comes off as a bit corny to me, but I guess it is kind of a theatrical experience. So I guess listening to it, thinking of it as just a song, is kind of a weird way to think about it. I guess it's more of a big holistic story.
Yeah. If you watch the movie, it really is a big play almost. It's not the movie's not it's a play, but the ending, the trial, it's all animated, and it's just a really
Yeah,
cool climactic moment in the album and the movie, which you haven't seen yet,
yeah.
have you?
I was gonna watch the movie this week, but it was pretty busy, so I just re-listened to the album, which I wish I watched the movie because The Wall for me, I feel like it makes it so much better if it did have that, I guess, visual aspect because it feels like more of a movie than it does an album at times, I guess. It feels like a soundtrack. It really just feels like a soundtrack to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's weird. It's it's very theatrical, and it literally is like Hamilton. I didn't like it at first. I just
Yeah.
liked select songs from it, but I don't really listen to playlists. So if I wanted to listen to those songs, it's a weird mental block. I have to play the whole album to listen to those songs. So then
Yeah.
the whole album just grew on me, and I realized it's a musical piece of art. Musical, I can't think of the word.
A
A
rock opera.
masterpiece. Yeah, rock opera. That's the genre.
Yeah, The Wall. It's probably like one of the most, I guess, slandered albums of all time.
Really?
Like, yeah, I'd be hating on it, but like not even to the close to the levels of people that I see hating on it.
Damn.
I feel like I think the reasons it's still like regarded as a classic. It's still like a lot of people love it. Obviously, it's not like a trash album, but
Yeah.
there's like a maybe a small but very loud community of people that just hate The Wall so much. And I think there's like a couple reasons for that is I would say The Wall is kind of really on the nose. There's really no like I guess there's not much interpretation, I guess, like based on the person. It's just like it kind of tells you how it is. Like it knows what it is, I guess. It's not like some like abstract piece of art. And so people are kind of going to be annoyed by that. I think people also get offended. Maybe not offended is the right word, but people get annoyed when a super rich person just complains about how hard it is to be rich, which is kind of The Wall. Not necessarily, but like you could definitely interpret it as that. Yeah, so yeah.
Kind
Like
of.
when
But
I
it's
was
not
looking
about the band. It's like based off them roughly, but it's more so about it's about like isolation from reality basically. But it's
yeah,
used through a character that is a a rock star because that's what all the people in the band are, you know.
yeah. And I think people just always will accuse The Wall of being fake deep. But like, is The Wall really trying to be really deep? I don't know. That's I feel like people are, I guess, are misconstruing what The Wall is just because of annoying 13-year-olds, I guess, that think The Wall is like super deep. But I think it's just a really well executed like story. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily a deep story, it's just an entertaining story, especially with that visual aspect, which I was lacking when I listened to it.
Yeah. It definitely is a big story. Like that there it's like the opposite of Kid A, which we'll get into next, but this is something
Yeah,
Luke said last night and it really made a lot of sense. Like Kid A is a lot more it's mysterious and you have to figure out the meaning where the wall kind of just it doesn't like spell it out, but it doesn't hide any of it, you know. It's pretty
yeah,
obvious. If you listen to the lyrics and especially when you watch the movie, it's obvious to see the story. But
yeah. I
the reason I like it is just because there's so many details in the story. Like there's so many different characters and like different meanings for words. Like there's they mention the worms throughout the album most of the time, like a bunch of times. I forget exactly what it is, but basically when the worms like infect his brain, then he just becomes like Hitler and like he gets all his fans to like start beating people up and like raid the city and stuff. Luke would say it's synonymous with Kanye West if you watch the movie.
yeah,
But yeah, there's just a lot to analyze in it even though it's like in your face. There's still a lot of details.
yeah. I think like I can't really speak for you, but I feel like The Wall for you seems like a album that kind of like marked a turning point of you listening to more, I guess, like older music or just exploring, I guess, music history more. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but like I feel like before the Wall era, Connor, you only listened to like albums from like 2010 on, maybe like some 90s hip hop or like 2000s hip hop, but like you would never really go back to like 80s, 70s. But like you you listen to like Dark Side of the Moon and like Wish You Were Here, and then once you got to the Wall, that I feel like that's where like everything changed for Connor Matthew Miller.
I don't think so. I don't think it was a turning point
Oh, really?
cuz no, cuz like
I just made that up. I'm just
yeah, I think you
schizophrenic.
just made it up. Like even in junior high, like I was trying to listen to like 90s rap and like get all the old genre of rap. And then
Yeah,
just like the past couple of years I have listened to more like 70s, 80s, 90s rock. But I don't think it has anything to do with the wall to be honest.
dang. The
You're
Wall's a
just
facade.
you're over here capping.
Yeah. Um, the Wall isn't like a 10 out of 10 for me. I would say it's like maybe like a mid to high seven. I think the two things that I have a problem with is like one, I think it's too long. It just I don't know. Once albums are like over an hour, they really have to be something special for
Yeah.
me to really care about it. Which The Wall, obviously, it's special for you, but it's not that special for me. And I guess two is I wish it was a little, I guess, less on the nose. But I guess that's just kind of how rock operas are, how they operate.
Yeah.
Like an album that The Wall always reminds me of is Ziggy Stardust by David Bowie, just because they have kind of similar vocals throughout. They're both rock operas, and what I like about Ziggy Stardust is it's just like kind of in and out. It's pretty efficient, but I don't know.
Yeah. It
That's the
doesn't
thing about
what?
what I was gonna say. The thing about music for me is like I feel like it's constantly a battle between ambition and efficiency. Like trying to do big things, but also do it in the most efficient way possible. And I don't know if The Wall really finds much efficiency for me, at least. Obviously, it does for you.
Yeah. See, I used to actually think the same thing, but then the more you like dive into the lyrics and meanings of everything, it's like there's so many details of the story. It's such a long story that it like balances out. Cuz I always say I like ten song long albums are perfect. Like 45 minutes, 10 songs in total. It's the perfect
Yeah,
album. But like this one, I thought the same thing. It's too long, but once you really try to get into every single song, like if there was a missing song, then part of the story would be missing. I actually thought they could literally add more songs to like fill in some of the details of it. Like it could probably be a three
that's
hour
funny.
long album. I wrote like a
That's funny.
we had to do this 10-page essay in English class, and I was like, oh, I'll do The Wall because there's so much to talk about. And I literally could have done 20 pages because I didn't get to analyze any of it. I basically summarized the story and it took 10 pages, and I like got into like a tiny bit of analysis. But
Dang.
there's just so many details. It's crazy.
Yeah. So The Wall. That's our first our Hall of Fame inductee to the Luke
Yep.
and Connor Hall of Fame. Because it might not be on like my personal like top 100 list, but it's Connor's number one. So obviously we have to put it in there, which is kind of a similar case to our next album, which is Kid A by Radiohead. Yeah, Kid A for me it's just like a personal album. I would say it's almost kind of a turning point for me personally, where I was trying to make that connection with The Wall for you.
Yeah.
Obviously, that didn't apply, but it was the Kid A kind of was that for me because I was trying to like dive into more, I guess, alternative music, not really just listen to hip hop, 90s hip hop, whatever. I wanted to listen to like rock, and I didn't really know where to start. I always thought rock was kind of a corny, kind of for old men who think they're way smarter than they actually are. But then I heard this album, and like for most people, they say Kid A doesn't click right away, but it clicked right away for me. I felt like it was a perfect example of how rock can be something so different from what I thought it could be,
Yeah.
especially from such like a mainstream band like Radiohead. And I just every song just resonates with me a lot. It's just like every time I listen to it, it's like I can create a whole new story, a whole new narrative behind what's going on in the lyrics. I just think it's like it gives you enough details where you can make your own, but it's not enough where it's just going to be like the same little thing every time. And that's why there's so many like theories about what Kid A is about. People think it's about cloning. People think it's about like World War III. There's just so many different theories for it, and they all just like somehow work nearly perfectly. And I think Tom York, when he was making this album, he said like he like intentionally made it like almost feel meaningless, I guess. I don't remember what his wording was, but like he wanted it to be mysterious, and I think he succeeded at it perfectly. Another thing that I love about Kid A is it kind of symbolizes what I think I love about music the most, and that's kind of the idea of the left turn, redefining your sound, or going into untapered grounds. Like Kid A, I don't know if I really found any album that sounds like Kid A to this day. I'm sure I could find one if I tried hard enough, but I think it would just sound like an imitation rather than like building off the ideas of Kid A. Like Kid A, it combines the like alternative rock, kind of the sad boy alternative rock for losers that Radiohead was known for with OK Computer, and then it also combines it with like electronic music and like IDM, which is just such a cool combination that works so well, and it makes it feel so mysterious, so atmospheric, and so like alien like, I guess, which I appreciate it a lot. And it just like it feels like what I like about the left turn is it kind of subverts expectations. It reminds me of like Yeezus. Yeezus is a similar case where both artists were coming off their like most acclaimed piece of work, where they could have just basically repeated the same exact process and just kept trailing off that success, got some easy points, but instead they went for a whole different new direction that really hasn't been explored. I mean, Yeezus technically was explored, like Death Grips was doing stuff like Yeezus before, but not on the mainstream level, and it just works perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah,
What's your thoughts on Kid A?
like I see why you like it, but for me, it's kind of just a zero. Like it sucks pretty bad. No, I'm just kidding. I think I could really like it. I just haven't really given it like I've given it a chance. I haven't like really hated on it, but I've just kind of slept on it. I haven't tried
Yeah,
to really get into it. But I do like the concept of how it you can find your own meaning because it's so vague. Because it definitely
yeah,
gives that feeling like it's like it's very atmospheric and it just sounds like a mystery. Like there's no real clear definition of what it is, like exactly like Luke said. And it's
yeah,
very cool quality of the album. I just have to
yeah. It's
listen to it
just
more, basically.
it kind of sounds like a music just like made by a robot that was like stuck in a snowstorm. That's like a great way to describe it for me.
Yep.
It's just like anytime it's snowing, I just immediately put on Kid A. I was literally listening to The Wall last night and it started snowing and I had to bike home. So I paused The Wall, put on Kid A while I was biking, and then it became a blizzard and I couldn't see and I could have died, honestly. It was really bad conditions, but I got home. But like even if I died, I would be low key happy about it because at least I was listening to Kid A, you know?
Yeah.
So I think just for that reason alone, it definitely has to be uh, in our canon. It's been my favorite album of all time for the past like 5 years. I don't think it will ever really change, but like at the same time, I feel like my top like 15 or so albums. I feel like I could call any of them my favorite album of all time. I just call Kid A my favorite album of all time, just because like I wouldn't find any of those other albums without Kid A, maybe except for like a couple of the hip hop ones.
True. That makes sense. I agree. I could probably call a few other albums my number one, but The Wall just has so many details in it. It's more than an
Yeah.
album, so I guess that's why I call it that.
So you can't call it your favorite album of all time because it's not an album. It's an experience, bro.
True. Do you know about like the tour they went on for The Wall?
Yeah, didn't they like perform the entire album and
Yeah, they
like
did
had
the
like a crazy
entire
set or
album
something?
and they built like a wall, like a physical wall out of fake bricks, like throughout the whole album,
That's
and then
cool.
at the end, like a plane like crashes into it, or maybe it's not a
Like a
plane.
real
I think
plane?
so. Not a real plane. I'm pretty sure it's a fake plane, but they have like these huge balloon like characters from the album like floating around and stuff. It's just super overdone. Like I think they lost a lot of money from doing the tour and they made it
Interesting.
they made the money from the album and the movie, or maybe they lost the money from the movie and made it from the album and the tour. But I'm pretty sure they lost it in the tour because it was just so overdone. But yeah, if I could go
Interesting.
to like
That's
any concert in the past, it would definitely be a Wall concert.
yeah. I don't know if I would want to even go to a Radiohead concert, honestly.
Why?
No, I would want to go, but like I don't think it would be like super amazing.
How
Like they're
come?
they're cool. I don't know, they're a cool band and all. It's just like for me, Kid A, it's just like such like an introverted album, you know? It's like any like interpretation of it, like you're always gonna have that like theme of isolation. It's like one of the few themes that you're actually given is isolation. And that's
Yep.
why I think like if you're gonna listen to Kid A with a bunch of people around you, like I don't know if it's gonna be as like work as well, I guess. Like I feel like Kid A is the best like listen to when you're like alone in a snowstorm, honestly. If
Yeah.
I ever have to like climb Mount Everest or something, I'm just gonna be looping Kid A over and over again. I literally listened to Kid A when I was climbing Mount Everest on Roblox.
What the heck?
It was genuinely like a great experience.
That's such a Luke thing to do.
It really is, but like have you ever thought about like doing like a World War II like video game while you're listening to The Wall
No.
so you can pretend to be his dad?
Never thought about it before. Shoot, I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like why you wouldn't want to hear it with other people because it's about
Yeah,
isolation. Like it seems weird to be in a crowd of other people listening to that album. But it's funny because The Wall is also about isolation and it's like the complete opposite. Like the concerts were some of the best ever in
yeah,
my opinion even though I never went.
yeah. Have you seen like a full video like performance or something?
No, they're pretty hard to find. I've seen like parts from YouTube, but it's like on like really bad cameras and stuff. So what they wanted to do is they wanted to record the concerts and use it for the movie, but concert lighting and movie lighting is complete opposite. So
Yeah,
it didn't work out at all. So they just kept their plans for the tour, and I'm pretty sure that's why they lost so much money because they kept it as a
it was like a whole movie for every single city.
yeah, pretty much. They had this crazy idea where so in the concert they had like these big balloon like it's like when you see the Macy's Day Parade, it's like that but way more intricate because it's like all these crazy
Hmm.
creatures from the album. But they wanted to get a huge one, like a blimp size that's symbolizes the worms and they wanted to like fly it across America and like Europe like as they were touring so it would be like over where they're going but
That's cool.
they didn't get approval for that. I don't think for some reason they
Yeah,
didn't do it.
that'd be tough.
Yeah, it'd be
Um,
tough.
for our next album, which one should we do? I guess we'll do Igor. Why not? We'll do
Sure.
Igor. Speaking of like left turns, Igor is like a similar thing. It's like the artist redefines their sound, and like in doing so, they kind of find like a complete new sound that hasn't really ever been explored by many artists in the past.
Yeah, this album came
And
out in
yeah,
2019 when I was still
and
living
it's
in
also
Idaho with Luke.
it also came after like their most like critically successful album. I had to
Flower Boy.
interrupt you for that. Yeah, that little factoid. Now Igor is their most their his most critically successful
Yeah, I was wondering why you
success,
said there.
bro.
Um,
Because Tyler the Creator's a band, bro.
he kind of is, just not like he uses bands, but
He's
yeah,
he's a one man band.
one man band. But basically, for Igor, he just doubled down on all the things that people liked from Flower Boy. So it's weird that it creates such its own genre, but he's
Yeah,
kind of just copying what he did before, but he's not copying it. He's reinventing it at the same time.
it still feels like radically different from like I guess the ideas on Flower Boy. Because like I feel like
Yeah,
Flower Boy sounds so like it's like clean and nature-esque, but like Igor sounds like it sounds like a spring day, but like recorded on like a really bad VHS tape in like the early 90s, you know?
yeah,
It has that lo-fi quality to it, which I think works really well.
yep. Yeah, it's weird because like you can tell where he copied Flower Boy's sound, but he evolved it so much that it doesn't sound similar at all.
Yeah, he like
It's hard to
created a whole
explain.
new like aesthetic.
Yeah,
You know what's weird? The Igor is kind of like this is so stupid, but it's kind of like a mix of Kid A and The Wall because like it has like that left turn quality, like covering like uncovered ground
yep,
of Kid A, and it also has kind of like that tight concept album of The Wall, and also his like concerts and stuff are like really like uh ambitious, and he like was in character for like the entire like concert, or like
yeah,
the entire rollout. So
yeah.
yeah, that's a bit of a stretch, but you can see where like how this album both resonates with Luke and Connor, just based off the knowledge that he likes The Wall and I like Kid A.
Yeah. Does the
I
Igor
remember
have
when
any
this
themes of isolation in it? I don't think so, right?
um I
Like
mean
kind
kind of
of.
when you think about it, kind of because like he doesn't want to be isolated
Yeah,
because
yeah,
he's in
true.
love with this person.
Yep.
But
It's about him being
but
gay, right?
um not necessarily. I think Flower Boy is more about that. I think Igor is more about just like chasing someone that doesn't want him, basically.
Yeah, but it's a boy. So it's like
Yeah.
basically about him being gay kind of. Like not about that, but
I mean,
it's like the
it's the
opposite
it,
of Call Me If You Get Lost, you know?
Yeah.
It's like different role of the character.
Yeah, that's what I like about those 2 albums being next to each other because, like, it's, like, the same thing, but slightly different, and they're, like, done in such different ways, you know?
Yeah.
I think Igor was a big album that inspired us even just, like, creating our page in the first place, I feel like.
Yeah, that's true actually. I never thought
I
about
feel
that.
I feel like that album really sparked a discussion between me and Connor when it came to music when it first dropped because we both liked Tyler, the Creator, at that time,
Yeah.
and when it first dropped, I was already just saying it like, "Bro, Tyler's the GOAT. This is his best album." Connor
Yeah.
was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's wait a little bit before we say that." But now
Yeah.
he thinks the same thing, but I just remember when it came out on the bus, we were just like we were just talking about it. We were just both so hyped about it. Like, I feel like it was just, like, such a big moment, I think.
Yeah. It really was a big moment. Because I remember when it dropped and I was just listening to it constantly. I was so hyped that day.
Yeah. Do you remember the first time you ever listened to it or no?
No, because I just played it that like whole day. So it was just,
Yeah.
I kind of just remember. I don't remember everything I did that day because it was just at school, but I just remember like walking through the hallways, being on the bus talking about it, and just bumping Igor the whole time.
Yeah. I remember, the first time I listened to it was the night that it dropped, so I was just laying in bed. It wasn't that special whatsoever, but, like I mean, it was special because like, the album was, like, a 10 for me on first listen, but it's not like I was doing anything unique at the time. I was just sitting in bed. But I think, like, the 2nd or 3rd or 4th time I listened to it, one of those times was basically at this thing in Idaho. They have the world's biggest yard sale. Do you remember what that was?
Yeah, didn't we go with Nick one year?
I think so.
Yeah.
And I had my headphones in listening to Igor, and it was like right when spring was turning around. It was like mid-May, right when spring is kinda turning into summer, and it just fit the vibe so well, and I was just, like, picking up on all these intricate little details. It was awesome. I also remember listening to Puppet while I was walking to class. I
Bro, the
don't remember
first time
why
I
I
heard
remember.
Puppet, it was so fire. Basically, like,
Yeah.
I had the same reaction as you, I think. Maybe not 10 out of 10, but it was like 8.5,
You
like
were just
9 out of
scared.
10. Yeah,
I
I
feel
figured the hype would like die down and it would be less good of an album, but it never really died down. It got better,
yeah,
honestly.
it's kind of aged like fine wine.
Yeah, it did.
It's crazy that next year it will be, 5 years old, and the craziest thing, I told you this the other day, is that 1,000 Gex by 100 Gex released in the same month as Igor.
Yeah, that
That
is
is just
crazy.
so weird. That's just so weird. They just feel like they're so distant. They feel like at least
Yeah,
a year apart, but they're not. But yeah, Igor, man.
it's just all vibrations, man.
Bro, Igor. Why did okay, I was listening to Igor through in the shower this morning, and Cardi, his iconic feature. Why
Yeah,
does he say why does he give a shout out to Whoa Vicky?
who knows,
If you don't know who
man?
Whoa Vicky is, just like one of those like random like people that would go viral in 2018. Like that was just like a thing that happened back in the day where just like random people would go viral for saying like weird things or like having some weird thing about them. And Whoa Vicky was just really stupid. That was her whole thing. And
Yeah,
like Igor's probably gonna go down as like kind of like a decade classic, It's gonna be in those like 10 albums of the decade list that people will be talking about like 100 years from now, and they're gonna be listening through it, and they're gonna be hearing a "Whoa Vicky" shout out, and they're gonna be doing their research like Connor does for his paper about who the hell is a Whoa Vicky.
yeah.
Just like imagine that, and like in 100 years from now, some like art analysis person is gonna be looking up who is Whoa Vicky.
Watch him like tie
So
the
I think,
entire album to Whoa Vicky.
yeah, the album's about Whoa Vicky.
That'd be crazy.
Igor is like a is a it's a psyop for Whoa Vicky. I
How?
don't even know what the hell that.
Explain.
Like basically, Igor the character represents Whoa Vicky. Like it's not about gayness. It's about Whoa Vicky falling in love with a man,
I see.
but the man doesn't want Whoa Vicky because of her negative reputation.
That's crazy. Is there only one
Yeah, man.
music video from Igor? I think it's just A Boy Is a Gun. Oh wait, no, there's Earthquake too.
No, I think there's three.
Is
maybe
it
4.
3?
I think there's a video
Really?
for I Think,
Oh, you might be right.
bro. Now
I
I'm
don't know.
jogging my memory. Yeah, man. Igor, just such an iconic like moment in history. Just like such a well executed rollout, such a well executed album,
Yeah.
and it's just aged so well. And I think it really, like I said, is one of the albums that just really inspired us to become nerds full time.
Yeah, it did. Went from
Yeah.
Eminem to Igor by Tyler the Creator.
Yeah. I remember back in the day I would always make like comparisons between Tyler the Creator and Eminem. But I
Really?
think after Igor came out, I don't have that comparison anymore.
That's funny. I don't remember that. Do you remember when we
Yeah,
listened to Pray for Paris for the first time?
oh yeah,
That
that was hype.
was that was so hype, bro. That might
That could
be
be in part 2.
true. Yeah, we'll talk about that next time.
Yeah, pray for Paris, bro. I remember I was talking to someone and he was so hyped that he said he jumped out of his chair and like started like going like yeah. I was like
What the heck?
dang, bro. Like that I don't know why that album just had so much hype around it for no reason whatsoever, but it was because it was during COVID. But we'll talk about that next time. Um
Was it?
yeah, it was during COVID, right through the thick of it, like right when it started.
Oh, I'm thinking of Testing for some reason. I was thinking of the night I first listened to Testing by ASAP Rocky and thinking that that was
Pray for
yeah.
Paris.
Yeah, I don't know why that was weird. I just realized my brain
Okay,
glitched.
our next album is I'm repping the merch for it right now. Actually, is
Are you?
it's the. Do
Oh,
you see what it is?
the Fool?
I am the Fool. Yeah. Do you even have the Fool at a 10 out of 10? I don't know if you do.
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, I don't either. So like that's just proof that not necessarily our favorite or best albums will be here, but I think the Fool is definitely a generational Luke and Connor album. The
Yeah.
Fool.
The Fool's not even my favorite Blade album. I like
Yeah, me
Ice
neither.
Dancer more. Oh, really?
Yeah, the Fool's not my favorite. 333 is, but the
That's what I
Fool I think
figured.
is like the Fool is like where we like connect.
Yeah, true.
Like you don't like 333 as much as I like 333, and I don't like Ice Dancer as much as you like Ice Dancer. You don't like Ever Since as much as I like it, and I don't like Exeter as much as you like it. But the
Yeah.
Fool, we have the same thoughts about the Fool, because
Yeah.
the Fool, bro, think about it. The Fool is a mix of Ice Dancer and 333.
Oh, yeah.
It literally is. It's like it has like I guess like the tone and like the silliness of 333, but it has the production of like Ice Dancer.
Yeah.
But
No,
it's more
that's crazy.
bright and like springtimey. Bro, The Fool is just like I've always said it. I've said it actually about a lot of different Blade and Young Lean albums, but it's a musical Q-tip. It just cleans your ears,
Yeah.
which is kind of a weird thing to say because people hate Blade's vocals. They think Blade has ugly sounding vocals, which is fair, but like the production, the mixing, especially the mixing and mastering, is just so like perfect. It just sounds so clean. And I don't know, it especially if you have it on like high volume and you have like over the ear headphones, you can't hear anything else. It cleans your ears.
Yeah. It definitely does. I think really any Blade album or Drain Gang project does. Just cleaned you.
Yeah. Like the producer behind this is Lucy, or I think that's how you say it, Lucy. He hasn't really done much production outside of The Fool. He did some for Ice Dancer. I think he actually did some for 333. He has a cut with Lil Uzi Vert and Future for some reason. But other than that, he's kind of a mysterious little producer. But I hope Blade collabs with him more. It's really
Yeah.
cool.
Me too.
Yeah, The Fool. It's just like I have like two, I guess, like core memories from it, and that's when it first dropped. I was at my girlfriend's house and we listened to it together, and that's her favorite Blade album. So like that was kind of cool. She was messing with it right when it dropped. I was kind of like still like figuring out if I'd liked it or not, you know. Just
Yeah.
like it wasn't something that clicked with me immediately. And the second time, like second core memory I guess I have with it was I was biking home from work and it was like just like everything was so green outside. It was just like it was so just like summertime perfectness, I guess. And I was listening to The Fool and it just like matched the vibe so perfectly. And like there's like a line on Let's Ride where where he's like, "We hop out on BMX bikes." And I was like, "Bro, that's me." But I wasn't on a BMX bike, but I was on a bike. So yeah.
Bro, do you want to hear the memories I get from it?
What?
So basically, it dropped shortly after we bought this house that I'm in right now, and
Mm-hmm.
this bedroom that I'm in right now, it wasn't like this at all. There wasn't any walls or anything. And so I was me and my brother were sharing a mattress on the floor in the living room when
Oh
the
gosh.
Fool dropped, and I was literally just listening to it 24/7, just constantly playing the Fool. And it was the same time that I bought the Apple HomePod, so I was playing it on that, and that it had like surprisingly good sound for the size of it. And so whenever I
Mm-hmm.
listen to the Fool, it reminds me of playing it on
Snug.
the HomePod, snuggling with my little brother.
Doesn't your brother mess with Blade now, or am I tripping?
Kind of. All his friends do because they listen to our podcast. And so it's so weird, like the circle of influence. Like I influence my brother's friends and they influence him to like the music that I like. It's not just direct.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird.
You have to like go to a secondary source to talk to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man. I think just the Fool, I think, was just kind of like everything in the universe kind of lined up perfectly for Blade. I don't know if it's necessary. Like I said, I don't think it's his best, but like I think he's just on point. It's all killer, no filler. It's not necessarily his most ambitious, but it's just him like kind of perfecting what he's done in the past so he can move on to greater pastures with like uh not Exeter, what is it called? Crest and Spider, where he kind of experiments with different things after that.
Yep.
The Fool is just like it marks the end of his trap era. Just kidding. He'll probably drop like more trap music later. But like if Blade died today, I shouldn't say stuff like that. But if he did, this would mark the end of his trap era where he like masters it. He becomes master trap master.
I just thought of the best post idea. I just texted you.
Recreating album covers.
Yeah.
I think we've thought about that. I think, but
I don't think we've ever done
yeah.
it though.
What would you do for the Fool?
For the Fool, I don't even know because Blade style is very difficult. But it was making me
Yeah,
think of the head SU cover you made. I was like, we could recreate some of that for some mid covers of artists that we like.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So have we talked about it for 12 minutes?
I don't know.
I don't know. I think one thing I would like to see from the Fool is a Echo 2K feature. That's my one like gripe I have with it. I think it'd be cool if I had an Echo 2K feature on like Ego Baby or something, which is I think my favorite track already. But like, imagine Echo 2K comes in,
Yeah.
starts moaning in your ear. There's no stopping that. That's a 10.
The only I guess not the only problem I have with it, but the big one is I guess it's for Blade in general, but his music videos are so it really shows his personality, so I can't hate on it too much, but it's just him like walking around through the city cuz he says he's just a normal guy, like there's nothing special about
Yeah,
him, and he really shows it in his music videos. But I know he could do so much more. Like he has so much more
I like.
creativity than that.
Here's the thing. I actually think the Fool music videos might be some of his best.
Yeah, I think so
Have
too.
Have you seen the Have you seen the Ego Baby one?
Yeah, cuz that one it actually has like a creative idea. He's like walking around that like
Yeah.
track thing, right?
Yeah, I need to explain this. Basically, you described it perfectly. He's just walking around. That's like what most of his like music videos are, or just him like shaking his arms around like a little white boy. But it just sounds it looks like a normal music video, like a Blade music video. He's just wearing a goofy little fit, just walking around. But at the end of the video, the camera zooms out, and then you realize he's been walking in a figure eight this entire time,
Oh
which is
yeah.
just so crazy. And he like hops out of like the sewer at the beginning of the video too,
Oh, does
because he's
he?
a trash star. Yeah, he's a trash star.
I don't remember that part. That's funny
Yeah,
though.
man.
See, how are you gonna say infinity's not real when Blade's showing you right in front of your face?
Infinity's real, just like not on a practice. Okay, we can't get into this. This would take up the rest of the
It's
podcast.
okay.
It's real, but it's not.
Yeah.
Okay. Next album, is this our last album? Oh
Yeah, it
crap!
is.
This is our. Maybe we should have talked about like equal or longer, whatever.
Yeah, it's
We should have
okay. We'll
prepared more for
freestyle
this.
for a bit.
Here's the thing about our podcast. Let me keep it real with you. We don't, at least this semester, like this version of the podcast. I don't know if we really prepared for a single podcast except for the Head Ass You interview, and the Head Ass You interview got destroyed. It got sent into the
Oh
void.
yeah.
So I feel like we've just like lost motivation when it comes to preparation, which kind of sucks. But maybe we'll prepare for our next podcast. That's a promise. Just kidding, it's not a promise. But
Yeah.
yeah, so we kind of just be going off the dome for these last couple podcasts with like little to no preparation, maybe except for just listening through the albums. I literally only listened to 3 of the 5 albums, though.
Yeah, I only listened to Kid A, and we got it from here because I've listened to all the other ones recently.
Yeah,
I used to
so
prepare for these podcasts, but you're kind of right. The
it's
last few have just been off the dome.
it's just because like I don't know about you, but I've been really busy, and I've also been like really good at procrastinating stuff, which makes me like feel the pressure more, I guess. Like right now, I have like a bunch of assignments due on Friday, and I'm also seeing a movie with my girlfriend tonight, so I can't do any of the work today, but I can do it tomorrow. So I'm gonna be like clutching at the last second on Friday. But like
You mean
last semester,
tomorrow?
yeah, tomorrow. Last semester, I was like, I was so organized. I don't edit the podcast anymore. I pawn that off to Connor. I make
Yep.
Connor do it. But I would be turning all my assignments in like 3 days before they're due, and then also editing the podcast and also researching for it. How did I do that? I don't know. But we'll research for our next episode. I
Maybe
think,
if we have to. We haven't
or
had to for the last
uh,
few ones.
yeah, yeah, that's true. I think a couple episodes from now, we'll do another one of those like genre things where we like go through a genre, but it'll be a genre you're not really familiar with. So maybe I'll give you like 3 weeks of preparation because you have listened to like zero from that genre,
Yeah,
maybe
that's a
like
good
one.
idea.
All right. Okay. Back to our final album, our little detour where I had to keep it real with our audience. Uh, our next one is "We Got It From Here." Thank you for your service by a Tribe Called Quest. Man, like I feel like all the albums before had like I guess really personal connections with us, like maybe except for the Fool. But
Yeah.
"We Got It From Here" doesn't necessarily have that I guess personal connection, but like again, it's just something where like everything just lined up perfectly just to deliver like the perfect album. And I think it's a Tribe Called Quest best, personally. I don't know if you think that.
Um, I think yeah, it might be their best to be honest. Like I hate to say that for old albums because I wasn't born
Yeah.
in the time, so I can't like accurately rate it, I feel like, but I think it
Mhm.
probably is their best. It's so good throughout the whole thing, so consistent.
Yeah. Like, you know how I was talking about ambition and efficiency?
Yeah.
I think "We Got It From Here." Thank you for your service. I'm talking all genres. Might be the most ambitious and also the most efficient. Like it like literally hits the perfect middle point between the two because it does so much in only an hour. And I'm saying like only an hour because an hour is actually uh a long length for an album, but like it makes it go by so fast. I would
Yeah.
listen to this album all the time when I was doing dishes because I was a dishwasher because it makes an hour feel like 40 minutes like without fail.
Yeah, that's true. I never really thought of that. I should listen to it at work.
Yeah.
Last hour
I
of
would
work,
love,
play this music.
you know how you have like a fixation with 10-song albums?
Yeah.
I had a fixation. I don't really have it anymore because I'm not working right now. I'm a student. But once I start working again and I can listen to music, I had a fixation with 1 hour long albums because like, your shift is like 8 hours. So if you listen to 1 hour long albums, you'll listen to exactly 8 albums. So
True.
like that's what I would do. But yeah, this album, I think it's just so crazily ambitious because it has so much pressure on it. One, it's a comeback album for a Tribe Called Quest. They haven't made an album in like what, 20 years at this point. Two, it's kind of like a tribute album for Fife Dog because Fife Dog died like during the making of this album. So now they have to like also tribute Fife Dog in the making of this album. Three, while they're making this album before Fife Dog died, this was kind of like a political album because 2016 was like a war zone for politics, so it had a say on politics in 2016. And then 4, it just somehow contains like, I guess, the general consensus top 3 for music nerds. For rappers, it has Kendrick Lamar, it has Kanye West and Andre 3000 all featured on it. Like those are like 3 of the goats, like
Yeah.
3 of the Mount Rushmore of rappers on one album. And then 4, I think it's perfectly sequenced somehow. Like it just like everything transitions perfectly. It's not really like a, I guess, a super clean transitions, but it's like it just like it's paced well, I guess. And then 5, it just has awesome production and awesome rapping from everyone else. So like, what else can you really do more in an album, you know?
Yeah. I
And
think
it
what
also goes into a bunch of different themes too. Okay, sorry for cutting you off.
yeah. It, I think like one of the greatest things about this album is that any like musician, as they age they get worse. But these guys are all
Hmm.
old at the end of their career, and it's like they've learned, like they haven't gotten worse. They've actually improved like their whole life and just stayed consistently improving. And
Yeah,
it's really great that they all come back and make this banger of an album.
yeah, yeah. Comeback albums usually suck, bro. They're
Yeah.
usually trash. And not, I guess this wasn't just a comeback album. It was also like a finale album. It was like the last
Yeah.
episode for A Tribe Called Quest, especially because Fife Dog passed away. So like, it just serves as so many different things in just an hour. And it I didn't even get close to like all the themes and topics it talks about, but it like does it interweaves it so perfectly just for like a perfect experience. And it's so well wrapped, so well produced, and it has just such a unique atmosphere too, which I like about it. Because like, I feel like A Tribe Called Quest always had a pretty I don't want to say basic, but they had a pretty kind of like easy to understand atmosphere. It's just jazz
Yeah.
rap. It's just like you're just vibing out to jazz rap.
Yeah.
But with We Got It From Here, it kinda takes that jazz rap and then just makes it feel, I guess, like apocalyptic. I can't say that word, bro.
Apocalyptic.
Apocalyptic? Apocalyptic? It just doesn't roll off the tongue for me, but it's a very
Mysterious. That's what
apocalyptic.
I was trying to say earlier, bro.
Mysterious? Bro,
Yeah.
you literally said mysterious.
Did I?
Okay, uh,
I don't
I
know.
think so.
Damn.
Apocalyptic, but to me, it sounds like, I don't know if you've ever seen Cowboy Bebop, but it sounds like Cowboy Bebop to me because like that's like a sci-fi show. It's like an anime sci-fi show, but they like have like a jazz soundtrack for it. So like that just, and it's also about like a band, like a group of space bandits traveling through space. It just sounds exactly like that because like it's a hip hop group. Uh, that's the Space Bandits, and there's like the jazz influence, and it also sounds like space because there's like all those wacky sci-fi sound effects throughout the entire album,
Yup.
just like weird, cool samples. I don't know. This album's just like perfectly executed for me, and I think it's a 10 out of 10. And I think it deserves a lot more respect for what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very like underrated.
Yeah,
Even by myself, like sometimes I don't always think of this album, and then you'll remind me of it, and like I agree with you for how good it is, but you seem to have a more fascination towards it than me, I guess.
it's just like, I feel like everyone I've recommended it to, even myself included, this includes me. They always are like, okay, it's pretty good when they first hear it.
Yep.
But then you give it like roughly a year, and then they'll think it's like a 10. Literally every single person. It's just so weird how it never clicks with someone on their first listen. Because when I did this album for Music Club, everyone was just giving it like sevens and eights, and then like I got a message like a couple days ago from someone saying like, "Bro, we were sleeping on this album in Music Club," and then just it is just crazy, bro. It's crazy that people like just somehow all like the entire population just learns that this album's awesome like a year after they hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's aging really good too because it came out in 2016. I think more and more people are appreciating it. Hopefully it'll go down as a classic. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I want to know like how I should have had my dad listen to it because he used to like the Tribe Called Quest when they were like popular. I wonder how the old
Yeah.
fans feel about this album.
I think I don't know what there would be for them to dislike about it. I
Yeah.
guess maybe it's a bit more, I guess, hardcore, a bit more, I guess, energetic than A Tribe Called
Yeah,
Quest other
it's not
music.
as like
Like
chill jazz
chill.
rappy.
Yeah, just Q-Tip. I think after listening to this album, like I think you'll everyone will appreciate Q-Tip a bit more. So go,
Yeah.
yeah, Fife Dog, rest in peace.
Bro, I wish Q-Tip had the effect the Fool does. Like, if this album cleaned your ears the way the Fool does, then it'd be so perfect that he's called Q-Tip.
Oh yeah, he's a musical Q-Tip, bro.
Yeah, but
He is
no.
kind of a musical too. Not really, but yeah. Do you remember when actually you did play this album for your dad?
Did I?
You know why I remember it? Basically, we were in the car with your dad
Uh huh.
when I was in Boston, and we were driving to Boston, and he was like dropping us off, I think, so we could go explore Boston. And you were playing this album.
Oh.
I don't know if he said anything about it, but I remember that. And then, coincidentally, when we went to Newbury Comics, this was the album I bought in Boston.
Oh, really? That's how you remember.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, like, it's weird that you were playing it the same day I bought it. I don't
Yeah.
know if that inspired me to buy it, but that was also an album that I wanted to buy, like, beforehand. And it was just weird that they had it in stock too, because I could never find it in Boise.
Bro, this podcast really reveals a lot of synchronicities that we experience. It's kind of crazy.
For real. Yeah. I mean, it's good to, I guess, like, analyze what we like, because then we can realize what we like, and then we can that can also help us like different things that we thought we might not like, I guess, because like we can like force ourselves to find the similarities.
Yeah, true. We got 6 minutes to talk about something. Do they have
Dude,
any music videos for that album? A Tribe Called Quest?
I think they had one for like the space program, but I do not remember it whatsoever.
Oh,
My friend said it's really cool though.
I should watch it.
Bro, one of my friends had like he created this troll around the album. Okay, I have to remember what the line is. Like at the end or the beginning of one of the songs, it says like the heat or something like that.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, what did he say? Basically, he would just like purposely misinterpret the line, like saying, "Why does he say this?" And he would just like send me that message like once a week for like probably like half a year.
What the heck?
Oh, he says, "Why does he say the he
The
instead
He.
of the heat?" Or, yeah, the he. Why does he say the he? And we would just be like, I don't know. Or we would say like he says the heat, and then he like a week later he would just do the same thing.
That's so
Honestly, it
funny.
was kind of funny because like it like forced an inside joke. Because like anytime I listen to that song now, I'm like, why does he say the he?
I see. That is kind of funny, actually. Hey,
Man,
Apple.
it's advanced trolling, bro. Should I tell the Hey Apple story as our
Yeah,
little closing segment?
you should.
Basically, I don't even remember when it happened. I would say probably like late 2019. We were on
Yeah.
like a FaceTime. We were probably just conversing about what post we want to do next for Luke and Connor.
Yeah, we
Just a
were.
normal little FaceTime. Just a normal FaceTime. And I was just kind of feeling a little trolly. I was I was just kind of bored. And I remembered something from my childhood. Annoying Orange. And Annoying Orange's little like catchphrase is he would go, "Hey Apple." And he would say it just like that. "Hey Apple." And Apple would be like, "Ugh, what do you want, Orange?" Or "Hey Orange." And Connor, for some reason, he was feeling a bit trolly, just in a different way. He didn't want to respond to this cry for attention of "Hey Apple." He just wanted to ignore it. So he wouldn't. Anytime I said "Hey Apple," he would just be like quiet, or he would just get angry. But he
Yeah, I don't
wouldn't
remember what I would
respond.
say.
He wouldn't respond
Was I
to
just
the.
silent?
He wouldn't say "Hey." Yeah, or I think he would just be like, "Stop, bro!" But you would never say "Hey Orange" or like what.
Yeah.
You would never say any of those two things. And by the way, I didn't say anything in between these "Hey Apples." It was just "Hey Apple," and it turned into like a 3 hour long call of me just saying "Hey Apple,
Yeah.
hey Apple." My voice was dead by the end, but finally, by the will of God, he gives in. He says, "Hey Orange."
The saddest Hey Orange ever. It like ruined my whole sleep schedule because We were up till like 2 a.m. I'm pretty sure it was either 2 or 3 a.m. And I was like, okay, this has to come to an
Yeah,
end.
like at first it would just be like, "Hey Apple, hey Apple," but at the end it was like, "Hey Apple," and then like 10 minutes later I'd be like, "Hey Apple," and they just became like progressively more spaced out because like I was tired, I was done with it, but I wasn't gonna give in. I wasn't just gonna like do all that work for nothing.
Yeah, it's kind of a stupid story to hear it. Like, it seemed way.
It's kind of like it's a parable, you know. It's like sometimes you just have to give in for the greater good,
Yeah,
especially if you have to say, "Hey Orange."
yeah. Unfortunately, that was probably like one of the like top three worst days of my life. To be honest,
It's
Luke
like
broke me.
sometimes you gotta feed the troll just enough so like he can't be satisfied by it, but like he's still fed, you know.
Yeah, I guess.
It's like if you like get angry at it and you start responding negatively to it, that's only gonna give him more life.
Yeah,
But if you just be like, "Yep," you just give him exactly what he's desiring, but not like to a ridiculous level. I guess I don't know. I need to study trolling, bro. It's an
bro,
art form.
you've already studied trolling. It's
I have, but
weird.
like I haven't studied it, but like I know the tactics like subconsciously.
Didn't you write like a report on it?
Yeah, that was a troll itself. The
I
guide to
know, but
trolling.
a guide to trolling, yeah. But still, like it's pretty dang accurate.
Bro, just the term trolling is so funny, bro. Especially when like politicians say it. When like Donald Trump was like, "Yeah, we do a little trolling."
Did you
That
say
was the
that?
funniest thing. Yeah.
What the heck? I don't remember that.
Okay, yeah. So basically, our top five, not top five, but our first five albums inducted into the Luke and Connor Hall of Fame was The Wall, Kid A. Those are two of our favorite albums, but like not for each other, I guess. Then we have The Fool, Igor, and We Got It From Here. Thank You for Your Service by a Tribe Called Quest. If I had to like force any of those upon someone who hasn't heard any of them, I would say listen to We Got It From Here because I feel like that needs more recognition. The Fool would probably be my last pick because like you either like Blade or you don't. Like you don't
Yeah.
have to pretend. So like if you don't like Blade, you're not gonna like it. But yeah, that's all we got.
Yep. See you
Thank you for
guys.
thank you for your service.